Hello and welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina. Thank you so much for joining today. Let's go ahead and sync up our energies, taking a great big breath. And as you release any stress, any anxiety, any dramas or fears or anxieties through the smoke, and let them be transmuted, uplifted, and trust that we are coming here together for something that we all need to learn. It may not be the same thing for each and every one of us, so trust that the messages that you need will find you. And if this is indeed not your reading at all, that you will find something else in short order that will answer any questions you come with today. So I'm inspired today. I have a few cards laid out. I'll let you know the context of the reading before I get started here. It seems that there is a confidence boosting moment or something, this development of authority within oneself, especially emotional authority, and especially also for the feminine here, because we have authority, divine feminine prosperity, and empowerment with solar plexus. So the empowered self-expression and creative spark and our own unique nature. And so to me in this moment, we are also moving in short order to the Mars retrograde at the time of this broadcast. So in early December of 24, we're going to see Mars, the divine masculine's more stereotypical role, the one that's the doer, the mover, the momentum, the passion, moving through the sign of early Leo before going retrograde and going back in towards the Cancer skies. And so that's back into the ability to lead with our cardinal emotions, our emotional or psychic waters in that way. So whether we're masculine or feminine, the emotional side, the nurturing side of our nature, our co-creative side, is being asked to step into its ability and capacity to lead towards something very meaningful, something that you hold value with in that prosperity way. We do have a few more laid out here. Under this deck here, we have Caretaker. It was Return of Spirit before this. And Caretaker is like we are the sacred caretakers of the divine spark within ourselves, right? And so that's why we have these ascended masters that have been so celebrated for centuries, such as Lao Tzu saying, if you want to change all of humanity, change all of yourself. This is the moving through the portal of ego. And so is it governed by the heart space or by a contorted, competitive will to control or dominate? So with the divine feminine here, the authority here is the authority to lead with a movement towards peace versus escalation. So a way to utilize the desires and the demands of all factors to synergize and create a way forward. So then this Akashic Tarot deck here, we have Archangel Michael was the card that came out with Ark of the Covenant. I will say during the pre-shuffle, I got a few cards that came out in one of the piles. I can't remember which one came out with these, but we had the Treasures something card, which looks like this individual's coming back home to their house and it's a complete disaster. Whether they had part in this or whether somebody came in and ransacked the house, or if some of the people living with you destroyed this house, and whatever that kind of symbology was looking at me through that card. And then the other one was Wishes Fulfilled, and it had the dining room space laden with all of these treasures, kind of, giving a bit of the Thanksgiving vibe for those that celebrate. It is coming up this week. But anyways, it was very much showing the inversion of the haves and the have-nots, and and the inner landscape of feeling like things are put into proper context, proper order, or feeling like things are just everywhere, chaos, and the ability to sift through and create new order out of any type of chaos appearing in our lives. So Archangel Michael comes in to protect us, to guide us here back to some type of self-expression. There's a lot of throat chakra energy supported with the blue ray of Archangel Michael. And with Ark of the Covenant, that number 11 with the 9 ends a pattern of perhaps not saying what we mean, not truly being those creative, authentic, and self-celebrating in some ways, like self-validating, not waiting for the external to say that we can move or change. There's this push, like yesterday's reading still uploading. I don't know why it's like 24 hours or more before we can upload. We're just going to roll with it. But yesterday's message is very much about our ability to stand separate and to to see things from a unique perspective, and to then you stop the mainstreaming of things that don't work out. There are all these middle ways that are needing to emerge now. And so Ark of the Covenant is coming through to be like, we are the sacred light keepers of our own sanctuary within our body, within our soul. And it comes through with a lot of sovereignty in this way. So Divine Physician also came out in that deck, which if you've been following or know the deck, it is a depiction of Jesus in the moment. So not meant to be religious in the least, take it as you must. So lastly, the last card that showed itself prior, well, not the only one, but the only one we're going to talk about, number 80 from the Tao Te Ching. Now listen to this. If you know current events, this one strikes home. If a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants will be content. They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time inventing labor-saving machines. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens. They delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it. So it seems that this is talking a fair amount about how worldly we are or are not. And it's interesting to me that as I was getting cleaned up and prepared for today's reading, I often do some of my meditation space under the running water of the shower, because to me that's so cleansing and helps me to connect with the flow. And I was feeling this whole thing about worldliness and how somewhat this one individual in particular that has challenged myself personally coming through, and this person has an older generational awareness of worldliness, that it required a lot of travel. However, nowadays people have the world literally spinning in the palm of their hands, and technology has become such that not only do we have this pure potential in our hands to do or to reach or to connect with anyone at the drop of a sound bite or so on, we also have the choice to allow ourselves to get sucked into that devouring chaos in any algorithmic evidence appearing real. And so we also had yesterday the talk, and the day before as well, the talk about propaganda and how we all accidentally kind of get caught up in different rhetoric and how we can steer things, but also how in the multiverse on the quantum level, all things are still connecting. They're still developing and can shift and change from moment to moment. So yeah, there's something about this because some of the youngers are completely distracted and disengaged because they're so caught up in that web, but others are utilizing the web from the center, and they are propelling their thoughts and their personal self-expression here and their ideals and their values out into the ethers. And so, below Divine Feminine, I'm seeing conception and delight coming in here. Interesting. So it looks a bit like Law of Attraction. I don't want to go too far into Law of Attraction. There's a lot of conflicting evidence. I think that, yeah, we can talk about how distracting it is and how it's almost like black magic if we're trying to draw prosperity to us with law of abundance. But I think most of us here are of the integrity, if you're following me, that it's not just about the money for the money's sake. If we are generating money, it's because we deserve to survive and thrive in this environment here. And because if we are going to gift or share our energy, we understand that a reciprocal, responsive atmosphere and environment and an inclusive multiverse is always responding to that. And so what we put out there is inevitably going to come back. And so why would we put out anything other than wishing for all beings to ascend and to understand something on a deeper level? So friendship makes you rich beyond measure. You don't say. So we're talking about what truly matters here. And there's some type of a connectivity between feminine energies here, something about empowering the way that we value bonding and connectivity and our responsibility to our friends, family, and colleagues, and so on. It says, what is a friend? A friend is somebody special in your life, someone you know, warts and all. A friend knows that you're not perfect and that you don't agree on everything all the time, but you still love each other. We can look up the word friendship in the dictionary, but the meaning is really only known in our hearts. So there's something like beyond words, the way that we work together or can still have a powerful love for individuals based on other individuals acting however they might. Of course, I always remind you guys, this is always me saying with harm to none. If their actions are creating harm in the world, that's not something that I'm trying to say we need to tolerate, because the feminine here is coming through with authority, and the empowerment card in this deck isn't just power, it's empowering. And so it's saying that by taking care of our power, that's a way that we're using our choices to actually synergize and have integrity and take care of the way that power and authority operate in our lives. And for some that are looking for specific answers, this is also about things such as a right to life or right to choice type things on any level that shows up in our situations. So what I wanted to do is, let's take a card from the big three decks here, Kali, Kuan Yin, and Medicine Heart, to talk to the goddesses specifically. And let's even take a big moment here to just say thank you to all of our guidance from all unconditionally loving sources here, gathering here. God, Goddess, Source. It says Weave the Future Golden here, which came out yesterday, I believe. I do need to censor this, it looks like. So this is master number 44. I believe it came out in the first one. And it's talking about our ability to choose for the future, to recognize that things are still in their becoming process, and that everything that we do leads into the next thing. And so if let's say that we see some type of injustice and we just turn a blind eye and say, well, it's not my problem that I just saw somebody get injured or something, you know. But then also every time that we do that, we're also planting a seed. So it's like I often get this lyric from a Rush song. If you choose not to decide, you've still made a choice. Coming out here, we have 18, Meta Pavana. I'm still getting to know these cards. There's something here, I believe, that Meta is talking about the way that things develop and grow based on higher understanding. So some type of materialization and peace of mind. I'll look at that one. There's something here too about the hair being a nest. It's very reflective, somebody who needs to gather their thoughts and energy to be able to properly tune into the messages that are trying to speak to them. And underneath we have Sisters of the Sun Rising that came out a few times recently as well. Some kind of uprising, an uprising of the solar plexus energy in the feminine dimension. And again, I say these as not gender. So I'm stuttering a lot today. I don't know if that is part of the message, but it's starting to get on my nerves. Let's take a quick moment again, and I'm going to just light this one more time. We're talking about this solar plexus energy and how that's an assertion and a proclamation of our divine sovereignty at its base. So this feminine energy is standing on business here with the authority and in the empowerment of the solar plexus. So however this comes to pass, it's most likely going to be evidenced in creative ways. This keeps coming out as well, but it's a declaration of our ability and our right to coexist here as emotional co-creators and so on. So there's some type of uprising of feminine awareness here and the ability to create. So let's look at this number 18 card before we move forward. All right, it says it's a friendship card. I'm glad I looked it up. So there's an incredible sense here of synchronicity coming forward. Genuine friendship is grounded in acceptance, interest, and care. It brings out the best in us, offers encouragement for growth, and acknowledges our limitations and our challenges with compassion. Friendship is a relational capacity for regard, reassurance, and relief. Yeah, the support. So it's like holding space for. Be such a friend to yourself. Be sweet to yourself. Drop the inner war with your body, your mind, or your life, and consider how you might befriend yourself unconditionally. There are many good things that want to make their way into your life. Generating the emotional safety of friendship within naturally opens your heart to attract and enjoy the divine warmth that desires entry into your world. So yeah, it looks like you're possibly coming back from some type of hermit phase or some type of withdrawal phase where maybe you needed some time, space for healing, self-care here, but now you're looking to bring new types of situations into your life because we do have delightful conceptions that are very valuable to you on the emotional level, taking your own considered actions to strengthen your capacity for those, being a better friend yourself, as well as going out and, taking part in something, whether you decide to connect with a group, a sisterhood, or something. Some of your ability to thrive in this time and to gain the type of support that you really need for your next powerful leveling up here, your next glow up, is going to be friends that accept you for who you are and that will help you to take care of your inner light. Yeah, this sacred arc of the covenant here that will protect you. So, yeah. Yeah, so there may be some negative self-speak that needs to be talked about here. So I wanted to bring out my dowsing rods today. I don't know if anybody here has already had some experiences with these. I was going to start to be political in this regard, and I'm not sure what the viewer would like to discuss, but as we will see when I do my checking in, my name is Dina Florian. With Impressive Warrior, we can see that the dowsing rod moves this direction. So my name is Gertrude Stein. Then we start to see a little back. It's like, not quite. All right, so good enough. Let's not waste any further time. Shall we be discussing any U.S. presidential political situations at this time? Yes or no? There's a little leaning that direction. How about the developments on the world stage and the fears and anxieties that we may have for globalization or fears of artillery and warfare, such as we saw in the Dow? Still no movement or momentum. What about personal relationships? We're talking quite a bit about friendship here. Yeah, I'm seeing it move that way. So we have some doubts about a friend, perhaps. It looks like yes. Have you not been able to really identify with some of your consistent friend groups? I'm seeing that supported here. So it looks like some group energy is going to be important in the coming phase. Yeah, we're getting a more solid yes with that one. Both of these are more on board with connecting with like-minded group, and I would suggest that these things might need to be some type of artistry or self-expression, possibly not for some of you, or seeing a negative response for some of you here, but ultimately something that really feels like you could get some type of secondary enjoyment out of it besides just camaraderie, something that you could really enjoy. Like for some, it will be artistic, like going out for the wine and paint type things that people do in groups, or wine tasting for some, but also something that doesn't revolve around food and drink and those lower vibrational choices for others of you. Some of you may want to find a group of spiritual, like minded individuals, whether this comes through individuals that are very earthly oriented and want to do things such as creative, ecstatic dance. Um, Still kind of neutral on that one. Cooking. I don't know if people like cooking, or um, for others of you, kind of self-defense has been coming through. I'm seeing a little wiggle here. And also just martial arts in general, some type of chi elevating experiences, some meditation groups. Oh, that one looks a little bit more positive too. And learning more about your chakra systems and ways to unlock those. Might be some counseling necessary, some group counseling for some. And yeah, so all right, enough with the group stuff. So what about this prosperity? We keep looking at this prosperity. Is there the opportunity for financial gain through yes. So some type of group endeavor that may also be more than just a volunteer or a friendship thing, but finding like-minded individuals that are also, yes, moving in a direction that is going to be financially helpful to all. So maybe there's some financial type cooperative ventures, mergers, partnerships, supportive systems, people that are supporting, like for instance, one person's a marketer, one person's is a legal individual, another person is great at networking, and these individuals it's a very Aquarian age type of a thing. some distrust in that with the collaboration on the legalities, perhaps. However, I'm also seeing that individuals with all the other things going on are going to want to make sure that no matter what type of a changing climate that we are going to be facing in years to come, which seems somewhat unstable, that we're actually investing in our local environments. So we're also looking at how our friends are supporting or not. And okay, so there's something to do with that. Perhaps somebody's standing in the way of something, blocking something. Are you giving away your time and energy for free or doing too much? Some of you, pretty neutral. I know that we're givers and sharers and lovers. What about in the field of self-empowerment? Is there a leadership potential that needs to come to the fore for some of us? Perhaps. All right, well, let me know if you like the dowsing rods. We're going to go ahead and move forward again here, and let's get a few cards from the Beyond Lemuria deck. My hands are kind of vibrating now. We've got the Element of Air 13 Paradigm Shift, and 21 Communication and Co-Creation. This definitely gives me sister vibes, sisterhood. This sister's sun rising. Yeah, communication and co-creation. There may be some other alliances, such as media evolving from this third eye chakra, pineal perspective. I'm also, I do want to ask this one. So, all right, back to neutral, please. Thank you. Please tell me, is the coming phase going to be moving towards the direction of feminine leadership? We're getting a stronger yes. Are those involved in viewing today? I know we have a mixed audience. We have, do we have more feminines or we have more masculines? No, feminines? Neutral? All right, it does not matter. Does not matter. Okay, back to neutral. Thank you. And tell us, I do want to just do just a little political thing I was sensing, and I wanted to share this with you guys. So, do we see Donald Trump being eligible for the presidency? Got slight movement to the not negative. Do you see him being inaugurated president in 2025? More no. What about Kamala Harris? Is there going to be a Harris comeback in the coming phase? Will there be an inauguration for Kamala Harris in 2025? It's a little uncertain at this time, but we've got a crisscross energy. Will it be a delayed proceeding? I was getting that earlier. Biden maintaining further than his presidency, which is unexpected and will cause some unrest, but perhaps entertainment purposes only, folks. Will there be a secondary, supplemental, and separate election to determine the way forward at this time so that we can understand the results are concise? I think possibly. Will we see a secondary election where we will find out? And I was also getting there's a resurgence of Bernie Sanders. Is Bernie Sanders going to be coming back on the world stage to compete for leadership? Pretty neutral. So some people will want him to come to leadership, but I think that he's aged out of his time. Will he develop a strong coalition and a third party? I think possibly. Will he connect with Jill Stein and pull from that? Possibly. And will the American political system become more diverse with more parties? Possibly. And will Kamala Harris emerge as the victor in 2025? Possibly. Will there be a third party or a separate individual coming into the forefront? Possibly no, pretty neutral. Lack of interest or name recognition, perhaps. No, other factors. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Um, yeah, so there's a new way of communicating. And I hope that you all know that this is not some feminist rant. This is me just listening to the cards and to the movement of the Tao. We have the violet flame here. There's something needing to be transmuted and uplifted through this cooperative communication of new ideas to shift the paradigm out from the toxic patriarchy and into the empowerment of true prosperity here with coalitions, alliances, and synergy instead of competition and scarcity mindsets. So we have vulnerability underneath the deck. There's a lot coming to the fore that's coming up and showing itself that we need to close some loopholes. We need to make sure that our precedents and presidents are actually going to stand the test of time, and that the process doesn't leave us open to anyone that might come in, whether it's fascism or communism or somebody that pretends any type of way and tries to gain control. I was looking at German politics this morning, which is quite interesting, but their party system and their parliamentary rule is different. Perhaps the whole world needs to reevaluate the systems and how effective they are at gaining people's feelings of being heard and cooperating instead of everybody out for themselves and nothing getting done but bureaucracy and more red tape and more individuals sucking up the hot air at the top of the ladder while we are out here, trying to figure out what the budget is for groceries, the high heart chakra, ecstatic bliss. There is a better way. How many of us know that there's a better way? And we're ready to co-create that. So we're being told that there's new leadership, whether it's ourselves or those we support. We're being asked to surrender. There are many ways that this could still go, and we're being told to connect with what matters in our life, what truly matters, and to the extent that we can connect with our sense of inner self-love, self-caretaking, and so on, I think that we're going to be able to advance as a world and perhaps beyond that. So innocence with worthy, beautiful color palette there. Return to innocence, a return to vulnerability, an answer to our prayers. So definitely keep your energy on love and gratitude, as corny as you might think it sounds, or on something else. Music can help us to recognize the things that truly matter. So underneath, we do have a few coming out. We're right at the end of the video here. Changing our minds on a vibrational level is going to help us to have new confidence come through whatever way that shows up. And it might be in the pursuit of a new partner or a new essence. So a glow up is upon us on the energetic, emotional side, and it's a return to love. We are worthy.